Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart, doing business in life with a purpose, serving others and achieving success. I'm your host, Steve Romano. We created this show for you because we want everyone to learn how to do business in life to make an impact in the world. I want you to think about how you will serve today, who you will serve today, and what impact you will make. Well, I'm excited. I got two gentlemen I can call friends now, but talking about making an impact in the world, and especially the impact the world of marketing. I want to welcome Max and Mike to the show.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
You're very welcome. Thank you, guys. Well, let's jump into it. You're talking about a new marketing place that is changing the industry. Tell me more about it.
Yeah, so 34 years, Steve, I've been in the world of marketing, and I sort of joke now because this year's a new year for us in some ways, that I'm a recovering commodity salesman. We've got this brand new platform. Took us about 7 years of research and development, countless dollars and time and patents. But what we've done is we've been able to build something that's going to disrupt several marketplaces. And I got to tell you, I'm like a kid at Christmas a little bit. I want to tell people about it. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the impact it's going to have both in the for-profit world and the nonprofit world. So we're really excited about what it is and what it has the ability to do.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's a unicorn in the marketing business, something very unique and different that people have never seen before.
Indeed. So yeah, I mean, in fact, when we were at Adweek in New York City back in October, we got up and told the world that's exactly what it is a business unicorn. And it's a place where consumers can win, advertisers can win, and our clients that we call packet sponsors can also win. So it's a true win-win all the way around the board. And folks love it because of the disruptive nature of it.
What's the mission or the why for Prince and Eagle One for the future?
Yeah, so with this particular platform, there's a couple of things. Obviously, in the for-profit sector, it's about helping organizations grow. And one of the mission objectives we have on the for-profit side is to help every small business in America. If you think about small business in general, and I mean, Steve, like the small mom and pop pizza shop, third generation, they make a great slice of za. Well, my experience as a marketing firm, what I've seen over the years is they usually get the shaft when it comes to marketing. Why? They lack two things. They lack budget, and they lack sophistication around marketing. So most big firms won't get anywhere near them. But they still have to market, right? Even though they've got referrals and they've been on the same corner for 30 years and all that kind of thing. The impact that we can have for small business because of the efficacy rate of this platform is unbelievable, right? So it's to be able to help small business America, the real backbone of our economy, by the way, is really exciting to us. On the nonprofit side, and we'll get to this if we have time, but on the nonprofit side, we believe that we can change the narrative around fundraising forever. That's legacy, right? That's power in this platform.
That's the whole thing for a nonprofit. They're not raising funds. They're not around anymore. So that's a powerful statement. Max, what's your perspective and thoughts on all this?
I'm humbled and thrilled to be part of this, the new initiative, and I want to thank Mike for bringing me and our team on to do this. And we've been had the pleasure and the opportunity to present this to, close to 100 different organizations so far in the last couple of months, across the size and, I guess, service type of spectrum for businesses. And one of the things that I'd like Mike to address today is that the challenge / opportunity for Prince is getting folks to be able to wrap their heads around the creativity, the uniqueness, the unicornness, if there is such a word. If not, I just made it up, of the product and service, because it truly is a unicorn out there. And getting people to actually be able to say, oh, now I get it. And the best way I've seen so far, Mike, is for them to see the product or the service, what you call a packet presentation. Would you be willing to do that for us here this morning?
Yeah, happy to. I mean, the truth is, Max, is that we're still learning. Like, when we got into this, we had certain industries sort of pre-identified. Yes, it most certainly will work for them. But we've learned so much this year. For example, I know we're working together in the pageantry space, right? I had no idea going into this year that it was going to have an application there, but it does.
Absolutely.
And think
Yeah.
about how much good it's going to do for that space, given that it's a nonprofit style space, right?
Absolutely.
So as we have these dialogues with these different verticals and these different size of organizations, we get a lot of, well, how does that work for me kind of questions, right? And that really challenges us a little bit on how can we apply this, even though the program is what it is, how can we modify it, right? With the malleability that we built into it to fit them and their mission objectives. And so that's been fun for us because we're learning more and more about ourselves.
Well, I'm excited. Can we get a look at this new marketing platform? I want to see it. I'm excited.
Yeah, happy to do that, Steve. Happy to do that. So I'm going to give you guys what we call the packet presentation. I'm going to work in hypotheticals, okay? So that because it works differently for each vertical, for each company, okay? So I'm just going to use some basic hypotheticals, and I'm going to pick a company that I know everybody knows, Chewy, okay? We're going to use Chewy's for today's example. So everybody knows who Chewy is and what they do, okay? But I'd ask the audience to just kind of set that aside for a minute. And I want us to think more about how Chewy is actually structured as a business, okay? They have two distinct portfolios. On the one hand, they have 24 million plus consumers who buy pet products and services from their platform. On the other, they have thousands of vendors who sell those pet products and services, okay? Two important things to note about those portfolios. First, they're relational. They're in regular contact with these folks, okay? Right. Two, they're symbiotic. They rely on one another to the extent in Chewy's case that Chewy doesn't exist one without the other, okay? Now, one thing to note before I get into the presentation, the real heartbeat of this program, okay, the real core of it, and the thing that is intriguing to all these companies that we've talked to are three things. First, it's patented technology. Second, it's patented process. And third, it's first-party data acquisition, okay? Those are the three reasons we believe, by the way. We have yet to give this packet presentation to an organization and have them tell us no. Nobody's told us no, that it's not for them, okay? So now you thought about how Chewy's structured. So when Chewy rolls out a beta program, they're going to announce to their consumers, there's a new free perk. And that free perk is, just for being a Chewy customer, they can upload, order, print, and have shipped to their home all of their photos for free. No credit card required, no shipping and handling, no fine print, no upgrading the membership. Just as a simple thank you for being a Chewy customer, you can now upload and print all your photos on us. Now, packet sponsors are the clients that we have, that's what we call them, and this is Chewy in this example, get three core business lifts, and I'm going to explain them as we go here. The first is on the consumer side. I'm going to use my wife as an example because she allows me to. She's a Chewy customer, okay? I know that for two reasons. One, I pay the bills. Two, I get stuck picking those heavy boxes up off the front porch that weigh more than my Labradoodle. When she finds out she can print her photos for free, she's going to tell her friends or family or colleagues, anyone who will listen, look what I can do because I'm a Chewy customer. And Chewy's banking on it. In fact, they're convinced that the vast majority of their consumer population will do something similar. So there's an anticipation of an organic inbound flux of consumers to use their core products because of the free perk. That's business lift number one. Business lift number two is on the vendor side, okay? They're going to go to their vendors and any new vendors and tell them we have a new program. And the narrative goes something like this, guys. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, we know because you sell through our platform, you're currently only selling, and I'm making up a number now, remember hypotheticals, 17% of our consumer population. How would you like to advertise directly to the other 83% for 75 cents an ad? What does that do for Chewy over here in business lift number two? Two important things. First is it allows Chewy to monetize this vendor population in a way they can't do without our partnership. Two, and we believe more importantly, it changes what we call the net new vendor acquisition narrative. Here's what I mean. Before our partnership, they tell new vendors, hey, you should put your products and services on our platform because we're the almighty Chewy. Now they're able to say, you should put your products and services on our platform because we're the almighty Chewy, and we have a program that will directly help you grow your business. So up goes the vendor population and up goes sales, okay? Now, when the consumers order their photos, they come in a packet that looks like this, okay? except it's white labeled. Chewy, US Bank, AAA, whoever the packet sponsor is, this is their canvas, their packet, okay? What the consumers are waiting on are these photos right here, okay? Now, important point to note here, because the consumer has willingly uploaded, ordered, printed, and asked to have shipped their photos, they're waiting on their photos, which means we get a 100% open rate, 100% open rate on our packets. I want you to compare that to what most marketers know as direct mail. 1 to 3% efficacy rate on a good day, 100% efficacy rate, okay? Attached to each photo is a double-sided glossy ad that looks like this, okay? And all the consumer has to do is this. And this picture is ready to put up on the fridge or send off to grandma, and they are tactile touching every ad and every packet. Because of this patented process right here, we get a 100% visibility rate on every ad. Now, I'm going to go back to that vendor conversation for just a second. When Chewy tells their vendors they've got a new program, they're not saying, hey guys, we're going to slip a few more coupons in the box or feature you in some e-newsletter. They're saying the program we're going to put you in has a 100% open rate and 100% visibility rate. Pretty easy conversation to have with a business that's trying to grow, right? Yeah. So the third and most important business lift. When the consumers upload these photos, the patented technology that we have extracts every data point from the photo. I'm a white male, I'm a family of 4, I went to Ohio State, I smoke cigars, I have a Labradoodle, I go to the beach, fill in the blank. Now, I want you to think about 1 year in a person's life, just one. Couple of family birthdays, couple of holidays, couple of vacations if they're lucky, and maybe even a milestone event, a birth, a baptism, a wedding, an anniversary, what you name it. What are all those things? Picture taking opportunities in different places with different people at different times of the year. So the third and most important business lift is we are able to enrich Chewy's data in a way they can't possibly do without us. Okay. Now, long-term, obviously that makes them more valuable, but short-term, it does 2 important things. First is it allows them to serve their consumer population better. An example, they may look at 90 days worth of the data we give them and go, wow, 40% of our dog owners go to the beach for vacation. We don't have very many dog beach toy vendors in our population. We should get some more of those because that stuff will probably sell. Second, and more importantly, they're not telling their vendors it's just 100% open rate and just 100% visibility rate as if it's a just. They're also saying over time, we know which ad to put with which household to up the propensity they're going to act upon this ad because of the data we've gleaned from the photos. Okay, so those 3 core business lifts. Now remember, guys, it's their core business we're impacting. Increased consumers, increased vendor and sales, and data enrichment unlike which anybody's ever seen, okay, is the reason nobody tells us no, okay, or at least nobody has yet. However, we wanted to make sure that there were 0 barriers to entry, okay? And we have actually 2 models to be a packet sponsor. We'll talk about that at the end. I'm going to use one of them right now, okay? So if you show somebody something new, nice, shiny, neat, what's the first question out of their mouth?
Cost.
What's it cost?
Yeah.
Exactly, okay? So we decided in one model that we're not going to sell the service. We're going to give it away. There's 0 marketing budget required. Instead, we're going to compensate our packet sponsors for being our partner. Here's how that works. There are 20 photos in every packet, no more, no less, okay? And we don't care, guys, if it's the same 20. Okay, people use these for postcards, Christmas cards, whatever, okay? It means there's 40 surfaces on which to advertise in the packet. At 75 cents a surface, it means this is a $30 packet when it's all done, paid for by the advertisers. Now, again, I have to speak in hypotheticals, so I can't give you the real numbers, but let's map out a beta test. Let's assume Chewy's beta test is for 100,000 packets a month, okay? Now, that seems like a great big beta test, but if you compare it to 24 million plus consumers, it's very small, very prudent, okay? And let's assume that their revenue share, based on the numbers they were able to commit to us, was $2 a packet. If all Chewy ever did in their first year with us is the 100,000 packets a month, we would put $2.4 million to their bottom line, net new revenue. Okay.
Wow.
Now let's get real about adoption rates. Okay. For a second. During the years we were in research and development, we were tracking photos. Okay. In 2022, in the United States alone, 1.2 trillion pictures were taken on some device. Here's a more staggering number. Of those, 40 billion with a B were printed and paid for. Largest demographic doing that? Millennials. Now I want you to imagine, guys, we enter in a consumer's 4 favorite letters on the planet. F-R-E-E. The photos are free. Okay. So now I want you to think about adoption rates that are more real. 5% of their population, 10%. We know it's going to be well over 50, but we don't ever make that claim, right? We let the population tell us. But now you're talking about millions of packets a month going out, millions of dollars of net new revenue coming in, right? All for being a packet sponsor. Now, full transparency, and this is the last piece. There is an ask, okay? In each model, there's an ask. And here's the ask. We need 2 things from our packet sponsors. We need time and we need talent. Here's what I mean. We need internal champions on their side to help us communicate to the consumers in the same ways they already do that there's a new free perk, email, text, chat, newsletter, whatever it is they do. And we need help communicating to all their vendors and future vendors in the same ways they already do that there's a new program with a 100% efficacy rate. That's it.
Let me ask, is a vendor going to pay more for the French program than they are with the other direct mail programs?
So this ad service of 75 cents is actually less than what they would pay for direct mail. Okay?
Wow.
So we're less when it comes to budget, and we have the 100% efficacy rate going with us.
That's a powerful message.
Yeah.
Max, any input on that, what he just did?
Well, like you've presented to dozens, if not more, of individuals who are responsible for this for packet sponsor type clients, right?
Yeah.
What's their biggest, I don't know, hang up and getting their head wrapped around this? What's their biggest,
Yeah, I mean, so common questions is what I'm hearing you ask, Max. Common questions are around, well, who pays for the packets? Well,
Right.
the answer is advertisers. Advertisers pay.
Right.
There's always questions around, let's call it brand champion things, like how is this going to protect my brand? How am I going to protect my brand through all this? Well, the answer to that is a little more complicated. First, there are security protocols built in on both sides because we're in the app stores, right? So there's a security protocol that allows no B class or C class pictures to get through, okay? And no B class or C class ads, okay? And those are technological security protocols to stop that from happening, okay? Now, in addition to that, packet sponsors have a certain amount of authority and autonomy. And so above and beyond, hey, we don't want any B-class pictures or ads, they may say, well, there's certain advertisers we absolutely do not want in our packet. For example, we don't want any competition. They may also say, there's certain companies that don't share our company values, okay? And that's up to them. So they get to pick and choose who gets into their packet and who doesn't, okay? Same is true for the consumers. A packet sponsor might decide, well, we want to limit it to 1 packet a month. That's our limit. Or they may want to go unlimited or anywhere in between, right? So the packet sponsor really is a partner in the sense that we do know it's their brand. We do know that we've got to respect what they've built. And this is meant to be able to be a complement and a supplement, not a distraction, right? Unlike, some of the things that other things, when things get out in the media, we have complete control over this. And we haven't, just because, remember, we're a military faith-based organization, right? So, we've got a mantra internally that as long as we own the patents, every packet that ever gets printed will be able to be opened in front of your local pastor or your grandmother. Okay. That keeps it pretty wholesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question is that you said that you've identified a number of verticals which you thought in the beginning were going to be just no-brainers, but that's expanded dramatically. in the last year. Am I correct?
Yeah, it has. It has. So we are, I mean, in dialogues, let's say, at various stages of beta testing and all these things. Just some off the top of my head: travel, tourism, membership-based organization. By the way, leagues, Big Ten and SEC, things of that. I mean, we didn't know about that application until we got into this. Venues, big sporting venues or concert venues. The nonprofit space is really exciting to us, right? E-com and retail obviously makes sense. Franchising, the financial sector, believe it or not. So there's a really neat application in banks and savings and loans. And then I mentioned the pageantry space. Again, that was another surprise for us this year. Casinos, and I think the sky's kind of the limit. We have yet to know, well, it's better said, we don't know what we don't know yet in terms of what vertical, because we're learning about the versatility of the application.
Okay.
This is great. Well, we're running out of time. This is an unbelievable opportunity. Audience, you need to reach out to Mike or Max. Excuse me, Mike, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so it's eagle1group.com. So Eagle, the common spelling, the numeric one group.com. And you know, you're also welcome to reach us via email. It's Mike, Mike.Hutzel, Hutzel @eagle1group.com.
And how about you, Max?
It's max.lambright, LAMBRIGHT @gmail.com. And, you know, Steve, you and I are working together on this, and we basically report directly into Mike. That's the other beautiful thing about this, is that, you know, he's willing to invest his time and share his time and, you know, the experience he's having with us. And we're thrilled about that. I'm going to throw in one more question, because you talk about the excitement for non-for-profit. Give us, you know, 60 seconds about how a not-for-profit, because if I understand it correctly, not-for-profits still raise 85% of their operating revenues annually in a very, you know,
Traditional is a polite.
traditional and expensive and not very, you know, effective or economical way. Am I right?
Yeah, so so we've had nonprofit. Remember, we're a full services firm, Max, right? So we got our CX division, our lead gen division, our digital marketing division. The Friends division for us is the only thing that's new. Okay,
Yep.
So we're already familiar with fundraising in general because of our nonprofit clients and other sectors. And historically, whether it's a big brand like American Cancer Society or St. Jude, or a smaller brand that's localized like a Matthew 25 Ministries, they all do it the same way. Okay, and the traditional approach is some kind of annual gala, maybe a charity golf or softball tournament with a celebrity. They have maybe quarterly, you know, mission objectives where they get the news out, or maybe like with the Cancer Society, they have the Relays for Life, you know, things like that are more ongoing. And then they resort to the lower hanging fruit, things like email campaigns and calling campaigns. Well, to be frank, we know from working with them for that long that the folks who are inside the nonprofit, they didn't come there to fundraise. They came there because of the cause, right? It's the cause they care about. That's why they want to work for that particular nonprofit. So if you just sort of stack those activities in some kind of hierarchy, the first thing you can look at is, well, which thing produces the most, right? So you can have this is my top producing thing and this is my lowest producing activity, right? The vast majority of the low stuff, let's call it the 30%, the ability to change the narrative around fundraising is two things. One is to get rid of activities that are low producing, and usually those are the ones nobody wants to do anyway. Nobody wants to make cold calls or emails, right? Nobody wants to do that. They didn't sign up for the nonprofit to do that, right? So the ability to drive in what most nonprofits do not have, which is residual revenue from the packets, right? That's the key. And here's the cool thing about nonprofits. Some nonprofits are going to be structured where they can be a packet sponsor. And this is a both and, not an either or. And then some nonprofits are also going to have the ability to solicit through our partnership for-profit organizations who are already donors, right? So now you're creating multiple revenue streams. And Eagle One has a commitment to those nonprofits. When we go to their for-profit donors that they value and covet, right? That those are very important cornerstones to that organization because they can rely on their funds. When we go to them, we don't ask them for two things. We ask them for three. We ask them for the time and talent because that's required of everybody. But if we go to a for-profit organization and we're partnering because of a nonprofit, we ask them for a third thing. And that third thing is we ask them to donate a portion of the net new proceeds on a monthly basis to the nonprofit. If the for-profit's willing to do that, Eagle One will do the same.
Nice.
Now
Very
we're creating multiple revenue streams. And here's the last thing on this, because I know we got to go. If you think about taking away that bottom 30% of activities, right? So what do you get to do? Now all of a sudden there's a void of activity. Well, there was time and talent allocated to that activity.
Great.
Now assume you can take that time and talent and reallocate it to the cause.
Yep.
That, my friends, is legacy. That's what we're in this for.
Absolutely. Great.
Wow. That,
Thank
what
you.
a way. Yeah, thank you. That what a way. I'm so excited. I kind of wish I had a company so I could do the Friends program, but we'll worry about that later. I want to thank Mike and Max. Thank you for being on. I'm excited about this. Hey, audience, reach out to Mike, Max, or me if you have any questions to be part of Direct Mail. If you're already part of Direct Mail, reach out to them and just have a conversation, because I guarantee you're going to be excited as I am. And I look forward to seeing all you at the next podcast, Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.